Hello, my friends. It's Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, and I'm your host, Radical Russ Belville, your Red State refugee. And welcome to the Radical Russ Show, your weekday morning wake and bake, coming to you from Rolla J Studios in Southern Oregon. Well, happy Festivus, everyone, and today we've got a very special episode that we're going to be bringing to you here from Southern Oregon and Northern California. It is definitely an airing of the grievances here, and joining me on the program today is the most special person in my life, my lady love. I've talked about her many times on the podcast, but please welcome Lori Duckworth. Hi, baby.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, honey.
Yeah, you bet. So we are here because this is a story that needs to be told, and you know, I don't have a lot of resources, but I do have a microphone and a platform. And the story I'm going to give you a content warning here, because the story we're about to tell you here is one of tragedy, one of an auto accident, medical malpractice, and perhaps a negligent homicide. So let's get into the discussion here. So basically, let me set it up for folks. I'm here in Southern Oregon at our Rolla J Studios, and my lady love raised her kids here in Southern Oregon, down in Medford and Cave Junction at some time.
Jackson County, Oregon.
And so she's very close with her granddaughter, and her granddaughter lives, well, kind of nearby in Western standards. She lives in Susanville, California, and then was moving to Reno. Yeah, so she had been living in Susanville, moving to Reno. And she has two babies already. She's got a little baby boy, and well, he's what, 2-3 years old?
Emilio will turn 4 next month.
4 years old, and then Ariiyah, the daughter, is
2.
Okay, so she's got a 4-year-old. She's got a 2-year-old, and then she's pregnant with another baby, a girl.
A baby girl.
Pregnant with a baby girl. She's almost 5 months along. So how this story begins, was this Friday when this happened? Okay, so I did my podcast on Friday, and then, you know, when I'm doing my podcast, it's like 5-6 in the morning. Lady love here is asleep because she sleeps like a champ. And I got up after the podcast and went out to do my regular rounds. You know me, I'm a hobbyist podcaster, so I drive things to people and people to things. So while I'm out there driving, I got a phone call from Lori. She's in a panic, and I could tell immediately she was in a panic. And the first thing she says to me is, Inez has been in a car wreck. I need to go see her now. Okay, so I had to scramble and get some money together so she could get some gas. And let me let you take it from there. So you got the call, and then you got all your gear together and drove down the freeway. And what happened when you got there?
So it was about 1:14 to 1:20 Friday afternoon, and I got a call from my oldest granddaughter, Inez, that she had been in a severe car accident. When she called me, she was actually sitting in a passerby's vehicle that had pulled over to help her.
So ambulance hadn't even got there yet.
Ambulance had not gotten to her yet. When she was in the accident, her phone automatically dialed 911, which is a feature that a lot of our phones have, and I'm very thankful for that. I immediately called Russ, said I gotta go. I was on the road within 15 minutes. It's a 4.5-hour drive from my front door to Susanville, which is the hospital the ambulance took her to. Banner Hospital in Susanville, California. That was the closest hospital. Inez has been to that hospital and actually delivered both of her babies at that hospital. But there's a history with my family at that hospital and poor treatment and medical care given over the last 6 years.
I remember one case where they had brought little Emilio in, the little baby boy, and the person taking care of him let him fall off a table, and
That's right.
Something like that.
He was when he was just a tiny baby, her oldest son. He was being examined by the doctor, and the doctor turned his back to Emilio, and Emilio fell off of the examination table and onto the floor. And that's really, I believe, where the poor treatment of my granddaughter and her children began.
Let me add another little bit of color, shall we say, to this description here. Myself and my lady love are white as white can be, although I'm quite whiter, I should say.
You're much whiter. I've got a tad bit of Native American in me.
But I'm totally white. But Inez is Mexican. She's Hispanic, as Hispanic can be.
She is Hispanic, and the father of her children is a Chuk, which is a Micronesian island.
So an Asian Pacific island.
So yeah. He's also brown skinned.
We've had issue with this hospital in the past, giving them substandard care, substandard treatment, kind of treating them like, the brown people across the tracks, the people from the bad neighborhood, people who would be, drug seeking or attention seeking or benefit seeking, that kind of discrimination.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so that sets the table here for the hospital we're dealing with.
Absolutely.
So she's in the crash. She's ambulanced to that hospital, and you're driving there, and you get there to Susanville.
And as I'm driving, I'm talking with her as she's in the hospital. I'm talking with the nurse in the hospital, telling them I'm coming. They're performing an ultrasound on her. The ultrasound tech tells me, because Inez says this is my grandma and gives her permission to talk to me, the ultrasound tech tells me the baby has a heartbeat of 146 beats per minute, and even comments how cute it was that the baby was sucking her thumb. And everybody in Inez's room was very jovial and just commenting how cute that was and reassuring Inez that everything was going to be okay and her baby was fine.
How bad were the injuries to Inez?
Inez was bruised up really, really bad. The seatbelt across her lap underneath her baby bump. She has bruises and contusions, excuse me, from that. Quite severe on her right hip. It's cut a little bit. And then she's just head to toe covered in bruises. Some soft tissue damage in her pelvic region. We thought she had broke her nose, but thank goodness.
But she'd never lost consciousness. She was.
She did not completely lose consciousness, but she was fading in and out in the ambulance. Okay. And I wasn't able to talk to anyone in the ambulance to tell them not to take her to Banner, but to turn around and take her to Reno, renowned hospital.
Was she in between?
Yes, she was.
Because they're moving to the Reno.
Yes, so she was driving from Reno to Susanville at the time to go to an appointment that she had. And I thank God so much that she did not have her other two babies with her.
Mm-hmm. So she was seriously injured, but nothing to the extent you'd think she was dying or in critical condition or anything like that.
No.
Okay, she's gonna be fine.
They gave her a basic ultrasound, told her everything was fine, and sent her out the door. She was in that hospital from the time she exited the ambulance until they discharged her. 1 hour and 44 minutes.
Okay.
She was discharged. She left. Within 35 minutes, she started bleeding from her vaginal area. She returned immediately to the hospital and told them, I'm bleeding. I'm scared. My baby is in danger, which was her first words from the moment of the accident. My baby, my baby, my baby. And they told her, with a waiting room full of people in the emergency department, to go to the back of the line. And she'd only been gone for 35 minutes from the doors.
So someone that they had in from a auto wreck on the freeway at 65 miles an hour, severely bruised and contused, nearly 5 months pregnant. They do the ultrasound. They say they see a heartbeat. The baby's fine. They discharge her after an hour and 45 minutes. 35 minutes later, she's coming back bleeding from the vagina, and they think she can sit and wait for a couple hours.
Yes. Inez and her partner, Vinny, the father of the child, sat in the waiting room. They sat there about 10 or 15 minutes. Inez was so completely upset. She called me, and I'm still driving at this point. I'm about 20 to 30 minutes out from her, crying, telling me what's happening. All I could do was reassure her that I'm coming, and as soon as I got there, I would drive her immediately to Reno, which was another hour away from Susanville.
But not a 2-hour wait.
Right. And it definitely would have been faster if they would have just loaded her onto that helicopter and flown her to Reno.
Right.
But they chose to tell her to go to the back of the line and wait for everybody else to be seen as she's sitting there bleeding. And I want to point out that she was only 96 hours, 4 days shy of being 5 months pregnant. 4 days, 96 hours. When I got to...
And wait, before we get past that part, because I think that was a crucial detail, the being 4 days shy of 5 weeks is why they didn't bring an OB in.
5 months.
This short of 5 months, right, is why they didn't bring an obstetrician in to examine her further, more than just the ultrasound.
That is correct. They would not call in the OB team at Banner Hospital in Susanville because she wasn't all the way to that 5-month mark. She was 4 days shy of that 5-month mark. So they refused to call the OB team in.
And were you guys asking for the OB team?
She was asking for an OB doctor.
Okay. So she's sitting there in the waiting room for another 10, 20 minutes waiting for you to get there.
And she was so frustrated that she left and went immediately I told her to go to her friend's house and lay down, put her feet up, and I would get to her. And I did as soon as I could. As soon as I got to her, I got her loaded up into my car and we made the drive to Reno. We got to Renown Hospital in Reno. As soon as we got to that hospital, they immediately took my granddaughter back to the trauma unit. They immediately had a belly band on her. They immediately had her in a CAT scan, and they found that there was no heartbeat for the baby. They also determined that Inez had no broken bones. And they did determine what her injuries were, which were very minor for herself. The OB team came in within 20 minutes of that CAT scan to do an ultrasound of the baby to confirm the death of the baby. We still did not know at that point that the baby had expired. When the ultrasound nurse came in to do the ultrasound, I stood over her shoulder and watched the ultrasound. And I knew when I saw the ultrasound, I knew at that point that there was no life left, but I did not express that. I kept that to myself. Within about 20 minutes after that ultrasound, the midwife, she was amazing, and the OB nurse came in to deliver the news that my great-granddaughter had passed away and that Inez and Vinny's daughter would not be leaving the hospital alive. Nor would she be going into a NIC unit to fight for her life.
Too far gone to that.
What happened when the accident occurred, the impact of Inez hitting a tree head on at 60 to 65 miles an hour began her placenta tearing away from the wall of her uterus.
Now, is this something that can be detected on ultrasound?
Yes.
So the first ultrasound at Banner should have seen this.
Yes. The first ultrasound at Banner, we were told by the hospital in Reno, did indicate the placenta pulling away from the wall of her uterus, and they sent her out the door anyway, knowing the chances of her baby surviving were pretty much zero chances. After the shock of the death of the baby, I don't know if it can ever really set in, but we then had to hear how my granddaughter was going to deliver her dead baby. I can tell you, as a grandmother and a mother, the hardest thing that you will ever go through is to see your child or your grandchildren in that kind of pain and not being able to do anything about it. And it's only been a year since we lost my sister, same time of year, and 2 years, same time of year since we lost my dad. So death is something that comes knocking this time of year for our family. And even though I have my faith in God, and I'm thankful for that every day, it doesn't make it any easier to lose the life of a baby and to have to go through giving childbirth and not holding a live baby.
And
is something that I'm never going to forget. Inez delivered LylahLynn exactly 24 hours and 1 minute after her accident. Her baby was beautiful. Her baby had the most perfect eyebrows and the sweetest little face.
so what was the reaction and the interpretation of what happened among the staff in Reno? You said they already saw they saw the ultrasound from Susanville and said they should have known. Were they shocked that no OB was called? Were they shocked?
You know, I can't say what they were thinking because nobody
Right.
can say that, or feeling, but I can tell you that their expressions toward me, the grandmother, away from Inez and Vinny, the parents, were that of disgust on the part of Banner Hospital. They shared with me a few of them, some of the horror stories they've heard about Banner Hospital. They were not surprised at all because of the reputation of that hospital, but even the doctor that delivered my great-granddaughter were just disgusted by the unprofessionalism that Banner Hospital showed to my precious granddaughter Inez. And I can tell you, Renown Hospital in Reno treated my granddaughter like she was the most important person in the world.
And had she been taken there, first thing?
And had she been taken there, or had she arrived at Banner Hospital and been lifelined to Renowned, where they have an incredible staff and an incredible pediatrics team and hospital, we would not be planning a funeral for my great-granddaughter right now. We wouldn't be picking out urns 2 days before Christmas.
And we discussed at the beginning of this the history and, potential for racism involved here, but I also wonder how much class is involved, because Inez she's being treated like their insurance is Medi-Cal, right?
It is.
The Medicaid.
Yep.
Yeah, that of course the Trump administration wants to slash and
Yes.
burn. So that's where I wonder if this 4 days short of 5 months is a thing. Is that a thing in EMTALA? Is that a thing in Medicaid where if it's 5 months or later, Medicaid pays for an obstetrician, but before that they don't? I don't know.
It was explained to us at Renown in Reno that that is a state law, that the state doesn't recognize the baby is actually a life until 5 months.
I see.
But I can tell you right now, I watched my granddaughter, my great granddaughter, be born. I watched my granddaughter Inez and her partner Vinny hold the baby. I held my great granddaughter LylahLynn. That baby was a complete baby. She had 10 fingers and 10 toes. She had the most beautiful little face. She was a whole baby. Let me tell you what, if y'all think you can't have abortions at this stage of the game because it's a baby, why can't an OB team come in 4 days shy of 5 months when the baby's life is at stake? You got your rules all mixed up, people.
Yeah.
Is it a baby or not?
Good point. Now, it's not all bad news here for our Festivus holiday weekend, because you're also welcoming a new great grandbaby, aren't you, with your other grandchild?
What a roller coaster for our family.
Yeah. So Inez's brother is Carlos.
It is.
And he has 2 babies already.
My oldest grandson, Carlos, Inez's brother, also has 2 babies with his wife. And yesterday, they welcomed their 3rd child, a little girl, Ariiyah LylahLynn Rodriguez.
They gave her the name.
They asked permission to change her middle name to his niece's name to honor her. And she's beautiful as well. Let me tell you, my bloodline doesn't produce ugly babies.
That's for sure.
They're all so beautiful, so full of hair and love. So our family is grieving and celebrating.
You've been so strong for both of them. I really love you so much for what you're doing for them. And I don't know what a resolution to this is. I know that if I were a rich motherfucker, I would be on the phone to some really high-priced lawyers now, seeing how I could get a doctor suspended, maybe have a medical malpractice charge, a negligent homicide charge, some sort of civil suit to relieve the damages here. But Lori and I are both also poor people. And justice doesn't work the same for us. So this is our message in a bottle. Throwing out there, I met a whole lot of lawyers in my time working with Normal. And we're going to distribute this far and wide to see if we can get any help, get any relief, get any justice for Inez and Vinny and the late LylahLynn, who will live forever in our hearts. And you're about to take off and head back to take care of everyone, aren't you?
I'm about to, this afternoon, head back down to Reno to stay with my granddaughter and her 2 babies. That aren't babies anymore. But I want to thank anyone who's listening out there who can feel the injustice that our family is going through with my precious granddaughter Inez. If there's anyone out there who's had experiences with Banner Hospital in Susanville, California, please reach out to Russ or I. You know our socials.
Radical Russ. She's MomDuck05.
You'll find me on that at that everywhere, and you'll find Radical Russ everywhere.
Except Twitter.
Except Twitter, yeah.
We don't do Nazi pubs.
Yeah. But our holiday wish is to seek justice for Inez, my beautiful, beautiful oldest granddaughter, who's already had such a traumatic life.
Yeah, I've known this girl since she was a preteen, I think.
Yeah.
probably toddler. I don't know.
And
2007, 2008, she was like 4, 5.
she was young.
I've seen this kid grow up, so.
And I just think that until we can really get justice for LylahLynn, the rage inside of me will not calm. And Dr. Christopher Morgan at Banner Hospital in Susanville, California, will know my name. And he will never, I will not let that man rest. And
yeah, Doc, go look up Sheriff Mike Winters.
I will not let that man rest until he knows my name and knows the power of my voice.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, honey.
The Radical Russ Show is produced, directed, researched, written, recited, posted, and catered by me, Radical Russ Belville, and governed by Creative Commons share-alike licensing. News, music, and video clips and social media posts are reproduced under fair use copyright laws for commentary and analysis. My main theme is We Love the Herb by Herbal Nation, and interstitial music is by Russ Boom Boom Belville. You can contact me by email at radicalruss@gmail.com, call my message line at 877-RUSS-420, that's 877-877-420, and reach me on social media on Blue Sky as radicalruss.com, and nowhere else. You can support this podcast financially by donating to Radical Russ on Venmo, Rad Russ on Cash App, or via PayPal on my website at radicalruss.com. Get this podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, my website, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and until next time, take care of each other.
Take it on one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you